So from scalability, we're moving now towards IoT data marketplace. So Mr. Yilmaz, thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Hi there. My name is Kazım. I'm from Istanbul. I'm a PhD student and an entrepreneur, wannabe at least. I'm going to talk about a data marketplace on blockchain. Okay, this might look as a bad example of a marketing material of a mediocre company, but I'm going to explain why there's a need for it and why we need IoT device manufacturers and these AI, ML companies communicate over a system or trade over a system that utilizes blockchain and decentralized file systems. Well, what is the actual issue? Gartner expects a huge increase in number of IoT devices until 2020. I don't know the increase will be that drastic, but a huge amount of IoT devices will be on our lives, and the amount is increasing daily. So the problem that IoT device manufacturers is going to have is, first they have to manufacture the huge demand, especially fueled by Industry 4.0 and smart agriculture. And well, manufacturing these IoT devices will not be sufficient enough because there is the need to scale the software backend or cloud backends that you are going to collect data from these devices and put these devices into the system. And customers actually don't care about the data firehouse. They just need the actionable insights they extract from these devices, and in order to do so, IoT device manufacturers should decide if they are going to process, mine that data or not. So these are the artificial intelligence or machine learning providers' problems. They are also under pressure because getting data is really hard. If you are not Facebook or Amazon, then it's really hard to get big data sets to train your models. So the data acquisition capabilities are pretty limited. And getting data in the early stage isn't sufficient enough too. You have to have a stream of data, healthy data, to improve your models and actually create good results. So irrespective of financial resources, data is very important today and it's hard to get. So what can we do about it? So we're proposing a data marketplace. Actually, there are some examples. I'm going to go over them. Or data marketplace will be trustless. It won't have any bias. It will be neutral, and it will be just a data trading platform among IoT device manufacturers and the AI ML providers. The basic idea is we don't want IoT device manufacturers build backends. They don't have to do backends, they don't maintain it, they don't create it. Everybody remembers the DDoS attack caused by hijacked cameras last year, 2 years ago. So if device manufacturers build backends, then there are a lot of problems. So IoT device manufacturers just build the devices and the sensor data is collected, and then AI/ML providers are able to pay for that data and get it, and they are able to extract actionable insights from it. And in the end, business or consumers are able to use these actionable insights. So there is also the need to have a browsable, searchable interface for the companies, for the provider companies. And if we look at the current landscape for IoT, there's an emerging trend called LP1s, these low-power devices, low-power wide area network technology. And a crucial part of this technology is they have gateways. So gateways are pretty suitable to integrate with such a system. So if we look at the history, IOTA already announced the data marketplace last year, and I think it's online for the last 2 or 3 months. You are able to browse and buy data, but it's owned by IOTA, and you have to deal with platform owner to either sign up or do the transaction over them. So it's IOTA's property. European Union has a similar initiative, Big IoT Marketplace. It's also owned by EU platform, EU initiative. You are able to check their website. It doesn't look very, there won't be any high traffic, but there is an example for it. And also there are early prototypes of systems that store data on the centralized file systems and keep that data on blockchain. But the economics of the trade are not defined at all. So basically what we are trying to achieve is you may extract different signals from that same data set, and even a smartwatch can give multiple data points for different actors. Let's say you have two hardware and 3 different AI ML companies can extract data from it completely for different purposes. One can check athlete's performance boost, the other might just check or create a geofencing algorithm for kids. So these type of companies also have very different customers. So if we have that kind of a marketplace, what are the benefits? The technical benefit is we want to eliminate the need to maintain a cloud backend for the IoT manufacturers. We want to reduce risks and standardize interfacing the data backend. So we have much more secure IoT devices. And well, basically, there will be a vast data pool for AI ML providers. So we are hoping if such a system is in place, it will provide the accuracy of the systems provided or sold by the AML providers. Economical benefits are pretty straightforward. It means new monetization capabilities for IoT device manufacturers and new offerings for providers. And in the end, even the businesses are able to offer predictive, prescriptive, and adaptive solutions by using the signals, insights extracted by the AI ML providers. So what do we get from it, this type of marketplace? We expect decrease in hardware costs, hopefully. Well, it is sensible actually, because the trend in IoT device manufacturers, they were charging the full price, then they understand the importance of data and creating solutions by using that data, and the prices dropped. And in the future, actually we expect the devices will be free and the data will be packaged, anonymized, and sold over multiple times. So we expect free devices in the end. Such a platform will democratize data access, and it will provide transparency, actually. There is a hot topic on GDPR and data anonymization, and by having such a platform, actually we can control and regulate the data share. And of course, it's going to create a highly competitive environment for both IoT manufacturers and the AML providers. So which blockchain platform are we going to use to build this? The platform should be able to handle significant amount of storage, should be trustless, decentralized, and have built-in financial incentive mechanisms in order to, well, actually make money. So let's start with the usual suspects. Ethereum and Bitcoin. Well, storing data on blockchain is very, very expensive. It can't be done. Transaction throughput woes of early blockchain infrastructure, 5 to 7 transactions per second for Bitcoin, 15 for Ethereum, is still low if you are thinking about pushing all the data into Ethereum. And of course, there's a need to have a smart contract, so it's going to be a non-biased, completely open and transparent marketplace. So if we check the permission platforms, we got Hyperledger, Corda, and Richman's Ethereum Quorum. Blockbench, an interesting paper, is showing that over 16 nodes Hyperledger has some scaling problems. So I would love to check the previous speakers' results and go over it also. Quorum and Corda has no scaling issues, but actually they are designed to be used in financial systems. They are good of creating financial flows. The main assumption is financial institutions have data that they protect, and it's not part of the blockchain. It cannot be seen. Even Quorum defines interfaces to enclave, which accesses the data. So the data is not open, browsable, or searchable like we want. Because of this, we didn't use Quorum or Corda. And if we use the permission platform, we had to actually develop the financial incentive mechanism because public platforms have already cryptocurrencies. There is also the value attached there. And finally, platform ownership and transparency is needed. So we prefer to have a public platform that data marketplace is running on. About specifics, IOTA is actually designed for IoT. And they are actively developing and pushing for a marketplace. But there are some issues. The coordinator, which is the central point of verification in IOTA, is still online, if I'm not mistaken. And this hurts decentralization a bit. And also the hash function, there is an ongoing debate about the hash function. I'm not a cryptographer myself, but this is also there. And the snapshot mechanism, well, IOTA has a mechanism called snapshot, and all the full nodes actually prune data, and you only have the, you don't have the complete pushed data if you are running a full node. In order to get the full data, in order to get the whole data, you have to run a perma node which stores the whole tangle. So, in that case, as an IoT vendor, you have to run a perma node and store the whole tangle, which actually defeats the purpose of what we are trying to do, because we are trying to have the IoT device manufacturer be dummy, be stupid, and push the whole data, and not looking back. We also checked EOS and EOS's storage proposal. EOS is designed for distributed apps. They have a proposal called EOS storage, and it's IPFS-based. So they're already seeing what is needed, and they have a clear roadmap for it. There are some issues with decentralization. They are using delegated proof of stake, and they have 21 validators. And currently there are some issues, but only having 21 validators may be seen negative if you are looking in decentralization perspective. And also the maturity of the platform. Well, I would love to try EOS next year, but not today. So basically what we did is we actually thought about the financial aspect, get Ethereum, a solid cryptocurrency and trusted smart contract platform, coupled with Swarm. Swarm is a decentralized file system. The good thing is Swarm is deeply integrated with Ethereum, so we are able to build interesting financial incentives into it. If you are talking about an IoT device manufacturer putting the IoT data into a decentralized file system, then, well, how many replicas will be there? How much longer a file will be present there? So there are a lot of dynamics that should be considered, and IoT vendors actually can pay for multiple scenarios. So because Swarm is so deeply integrated with Ethereum and understand what Ether is, we are able to implement such incentives. As said, replication is changed with demand. So if a resource, a data dump is bought frequently, actually Swarm should take care of it and the payment will be adjusted accordingly. So what we did. We had a small smart contract. It's open source. You can check it over there. IoT device manufacturers have the role of the content manager. So they have the encryption keys, symmetric encryption keys of the data, of the IoT data. They know, they put the data structure. They decide on pricing. AI ML providers are the customers that buy these data. Encryption is not done on the marketplace. It's encrypted and then pushed to Swarm. So this is externally managed. After a customer buys this data, data encryption keys are exchanged between vendors and customer keys. So this is basically what we do. I just want to give the raw picture there. If you check payload struct, you see that a data dump has a device ID, what device just pushed that data. It has a timestamp, it has a Swarm URL, it has a schema to be used to parse the data structure. Spatial, so you know exactly if there is an attached geocoordinates. It has a key index and encryption scheme, which is processed by the IoT vendor and used to communicate the symmetric key for that symmetric key to that specific customer. And encrypted key. This is the encrypted key that a specific customer will get in order to decrypt that data dump. Vendor and customer are pretty straightforward, but vendors just store the payload arrays, just the whole payloads that are coming from their devices, and customers just register to the system, have their public key, and then interact with vendors. I will just point out the basic flow. Both vendors and customers register to the system, register to the marketplace smart contract. And they add, vendors add their devices that are going to push to this system. And if an IoT device on the field, for example, let's say a LoRa gateway, has a chunk of data to be pushed, then it pushes to the Swarm, gets a Swarm URL in return, and then Swarm URL, the type of the data, the timestamp, the spatial value, it's all packaged and also sent as a transaction to that smart contract. And at any time, any customer, AI/ML provider can query per sensor type, per geolocation. For example, you might say that you might give a geofence and ask for sensor coordinates there. If you are getting any result, then you are able to ask for that result by request for data. Vendors will see this request, and then the key and the data URL will be transferred to you. So basically, IoT vendors actually encrypt their symmetric keys with the customer's public key, so only that customer can able to decrypt it via their private keys. So basically, this is the main flow. So what can be improved? We might find a way to do the decryption on chain and remove the whole thing with listening to events and anything. We are able to, I think we are able to squeeze gas a bit more, optimize it a bit more. It's not usable for real-time systems because there's this blockchain involved, so you store the data in Swarm and you get this URL and it's, I don't know, at least a couple minutes passed if you use Ethereum. And it might, GDPR and data anonymization are very important subjects, and such a data marketplace, transparent data marketplace might really help making things in line with GDPR also. So that's it. If you have any questions.
One question over there. Yep.
Yeah, that's a valid point. You have a key for every data dump. And you actually, if the customer that you share that key is shared with all the other parties, any other parties, then you are compromised for that specific data dump. That's completely correct. But in real life, in our industry, that's the case. For example, if you are working with a semiconductor company, you get all the software and the documents, and you have a password. It might also be shared too. So the risks that industry is taking, we are inherently not increasing the risks that industry is taking at the moment.
Mm-hmm. No further questions? No? Okay. Thank you so much for your talk.